chose the life I lead. Yes, you taught me right from wrong, but now I sing the devil's song. Yes, I sing the devil's song. There ain't no one to blame for how I am. It was me alone who chose a life of sin.
Hey folks, thank you for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. Grab yourself a seat on my big orange couch. The drawbridge is lowered, and you guys can all step on in, grab your favorite coffee, tea, soda, or adult libation, and just chillax and relax on the big orange couch. Today I want to start out Preface. We're going to be talking about conspiracy. First, I want to do an addendum. I know I've covered this. If you guys have heard this before, I know you have if you've been listening on my page, which I know a lot of you do. This will be about conspiracy versus conspiracy theories. As a federal, investigator, 1800 series, even as a basic federal cop, you have to have a skill set. And that skill set is similar to the intelligence agencies, where you get information, you get a lot of information, and you have to have some discernment. And you also have to follow up, a little bit of shoe leather, move around, talk to people, not necessarily a person you're looking at, but you need to talk to other people. And those people will have information that will either corroborate. So you have mere suspicion, which is the bottom. That's the bottom layer. And then you build on that mere suspicion with reasonable cause, justifiable cause to get a warrant and further investigate. A warrant does not mean you do have an arrest warrant, but you can also have a search warrant, okay? But you need probable cause to do that. And mere suspicion, reasonable cause, and then probable cause. And this is how you do this. And once you've had the PC established, and it's similar on the intelligence side, but since it's not a legal thing, you don't need to go to probable cause level. There's reasons for that and different things. Not going to get into it because it's just irrelevant. But it's really a conspiracy theory. Because you're thinking, well, there's got to be more than one person involved. That's what you're trying to establish. Well, if during your investigation and you're looking into things, you see that there is probable cause. There's more people there, and then the evidence points it out, it ceases to be a conspiracy theory. It becomes an actual conspiracy. You're seeing that play out right now in the federal government. And you're seeing it within the FBI, which is a sad thing. Now, that dovetails into what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about two issues. And we're going to talk about computer. Remember, it was a conspiracy theory that everybody on Facebook, YouTube, their numbers were going down. YouTube's got to be doing something. They talked to Twitter, all that stuff. And then they talk to the people, they deny it, and the truth comes out. People, whistleblowers, start throwing out actual evidence. Well, guess what? It's now an actual living, breathing conspiracy. Like I said, if it has legs, that's fine. That means you can investigate further. But once you put a spine and a head, and that son of a bitch is running, it's now a full-blown conspiracy. And that's exactly what it is, because it's just not one person doing Twitter. It's not one person doing YouTube. It's not one person doing Facebook. It is a bunch of people, two or more people establishes a conspiracy. So this is a conspiracy. And just to let people know that don't understand this, because I know there's a lot of these amateurs that think they know what they're doing and they don't. They're just not trained in it, and they don't know how to look at things. They think they do. There's a lot of good-natured people that think they do, but they don't. And the second thing we're going to talk about are red flag laws. And for that, I have a special guest today, Gmoney. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, my friend? How's everything going?
Living the dream, feeling the flow, loving my job like got you. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. I'm enjoying the your little setup here. It's nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cozy, isn't it, on the big orange couch? Hey, why don't you start out with a quick introduction and on your experience with Facebook, messing with numbers and whatever other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm probably the perfect example of the issue you're speaking of. First off, my name's Gary. Everybody calls me Gmoney. And very recently, and this should make sense to a lot of people in the sense of where this theory comes from. Just recently, I am one of those people who I never had a big following on Facebook. I did what everybody else does on Facebook, poke around, do some videos, whatever. Never had a big following. All of a sudden, I get friend requests like 50, 60, 70 of them a day, right? For no good reason. You understand?
Right.
There's no reason why these people should be friending me. My videos never got the views that would associate with me getting, friend requested and followed. My follower numbers were low. And all of a sudden, now everything's going the other way where I'm getting all these numbers.
Right.
And even though that's the reverse end of what you were talking about, it's still the whole point of it's being manipulated. It's being manipulated for whatever reasons they're doing it, but it's an actual thing. The numbers have fluctuated. And here I could put it this way. I have my own private group.
Right.
And it's only been up for 3 weeks. The group numbers in that group, as far as post views, comments, things like that, have been drastically altered from the first week to the third week.
Right.
Now, most people would say, new group, everybody was interested, it was going to be busy, but it's tailing off because people are kind of settling into the group. That's not true, because I monitor the group. Right. I monitor, the comments. I monitor the feed, the feed. The feed, what I'm seeing and what Facebook puts up are entirely opposite. And this all leads into what I think you and I talked about a couple days ago, is the corruption that is involved in social media. And I would love to hear your thought on that.
Oh yeah, I think here's the logical thing. It's Occam's Razor. The simplest answer is the solution. There is a little bit of the newness thing, and I agree with you on that.
Yep.
But I also think that as it gets known, like, if I were to, let's say I was a part of your group, if I were to add you to that or add people to that group, I know those people. But there's some people that are just share. Everybody.
Yep.
And all it takes is, and I've told this to everybody, even this social media. All social media is infiltrated by people from all diverse walks of life. You really don't know, because somebody could say, hey, check this out. You could go on a show like I have, and I saw a spike because it's a bigger show. And I'm on there and I give out my thing, but I already know that people are looking, whatever.
Yep.
I don't care. I don't say anything wrong. I talk about motivation and stuff like that mostly, and mentoring. But the the point being, and past experiences with my brothers. It's kind of a log, so that if I ever croak, my son has these tapes of me and my brothers talking and talking about stuff. But the point is, the greater point is that there will be a little bit of decline after the first couple weeks. I agree with you on that.
Yep.
But if they fall and you're monitoring it, and you're seeing likes turn into not likes, stuff like that, which I've seen too. Yep. And I've also
it really shows up on my personal page. It really shows up there. And that's because and I'm going to just add on to what you're saying. On my personal page, my numbers have grown exponentially over the past 3 weeks. But the likes, views, shares, and all that stuff has gone down.
See, that's the rub.
That's where the
fuckery is afoot.
Yeah.
And I've seen it too. I'm able to look at my stats on YouTube.
Yep.
But honestly, I don't care. I'm happy with my small little audience, because most of them I do know.
Oh no, of course.
Only a few I don't, and I'm fine with that. But I'm not the guy that wants to be famous. Like I said, my intent was to leave a log for my son to hear people and me joke around, and maybe my grandkids when I croak. And it's only on YouTube now because it's the format I put it on, and then I save them. They all go and get saved to a thumb drive.
Yep.
And so that, if I croak out, my grandchildren will even be able to hear it. So my numbers were never a concern of mine. Right. I just noticed the numbers difference. Like I have a few. It's funny. I get at least 10 to 15 messages a day now from people who follow me on my personal page who are telling me they're not getting notified when I go live. Now, everybody knows that in Facebook you have settings, and you could set your settings so that you see certain things first. Right.
Whether it be somebody you follow or whether it be a news feed, Facebook is actually turning that off at random for random times, random reasons, random people. I have people, I tell them, go back in and check your settings, or go in, unfollow, refollow, and it'll set it back up. So that's part of it too. That's the part of I guess you call it the corruption of it, is that they are actually manipulating the system.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy. It's one or two or more people colluding to do this. Not colluding because collusion's not an actual law, but it is an actual conspiracy. And just because they have the same mindset doesn't mean they don't have a coffee klatch and talk about it. I've seen it on my YouTube channel. Same kind of thing. People are like, man, love your shows. How come I'm not in the feed? Well, I just say ring the bell again. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's an easy fix, but it's a pain in the ass. And when you think about it in the big picture, it's just more of a control issue of them trying to control content. And that kind of leads into what you were talking about as far as the second thing you wanted, that you were going to talk about today.
Yeah.
It leads into that whole red flag thing.
Yep.
Because that's kind of in the same realm. We're talking about they're calling them laws, but we're talking about a system that they're trying to put in place that has such a broad view, and it can be abused so easily.
I'll tell you this, brother. Here's what I'll say on this. When I was a Fed and Homeland got made the way it is, okay, Homeland Security Act.
Yep.
I could see, and I'm not the only person, that there would be fuckery afoot. Anybody can complain, see something, say something, right?
Yep.
It's the same. It's the same kind of shit. And of course, under the last president, being a Muslim and saying Allahu Akbar and stuff like that, and saying anti-American stuff, that wasn't enough to call somebody. But if good old Gmoney or old Kaiser said something that was untoward, guaranteed they'd be knocking on your door. I guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's another thing about free speech. But I just saw that this was going to be abused. It's a matter of who sits in the office, the president's office, and what kind of thing they tell the DOJ to look at. You have Kamala Harris, who's saying every white person's a racist. She's the biggest racist out there, who slept her way to the top.
And she's not even a legitimately African American person. So.
No, I know. I don't want to get into politics. I try not to. But the
other thing I wanted to ask you this though, because I don't know where a lot of your listeners are from, so I don't know if you or your listeners are aware that the red flag laws that are already been put in place by certain states in the country,
right?
And I namely live in one of those states. There's already been an incident in my state, happened 2 years ago. A red flag incident involving two family members. And with the way the story, is told, you could see where the abuse and the overstepping of people's rights come in.
The overreach.
This was all over an argument. His sister and himself had a fight. She decided that out of the fight, her retaliation was to call the authorities, tell them that her brother was a danger to himself, and they showed up at this man's door and tried to take his Second Amendment rights away from him. Now, he resisted, and that's how it became a tragedy. But my point is this. It shouldn't have ever gotten to that point because the accusation was not valid.
Well, when you say fight, it was an argument, I'm assuming.
It wasn't a physical fight. It was an argument.
Right. And that's the whole thing. And we've raised the culture that just words kill me. Words are Nazism. It's that level of stupidity.
I mean, we talked about this a couple of days ago when we discussed this whole social media disaster that's become that's what I call it. It's it's become a disaster site on social media. And you had said it, and it's true, and I did a little rant about it. Social media has become the place where you could point your little imaginary finger at anybody you choose, start calling them names and telling them where they could shove it, and telling them to drop dead and all this other good stuff, and there's no repercussion. Well, but if you respond in a certain way, you are being told that you're not allowed to say those things.
No, you're exactly right. My thing is anonymity on the internet. If people aren't using their real names, and a lot of people don't, and that's okay because some people have security issues, right?
Exactly.
And that's fair play. But everybody thinks they know more than everybody else. Everybody doesn't really know everybody's backstory because, honestly, just like on this page, I talk to a lot of my bros, but even with my bros, I'll be like, let's stay away from this topic. Let's stay away from this topic. I mean, one time I didn't stay away from a topic, and because I didn't, I had a friend of mine blow his fucking brains out. And he was a part of that thing. And I swore I'd never talk about that issue again. And there's several others like that. And just because, anyways, it is what it is. But the point is, the point is greater than that. The point is, there are real ramifications to what people say, even inadvertently thinking, oh, this is harmless. They can push people over the edge. And you also have the actual real thought that people should have in their minds that a lot of these kids nowadays have been brought up on SSRIs, drugs, and everybody thinks, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, although it's been proven that it's worked.
The mental health issue in this country is not a conspiracy theory.
No. I'm going somewhere else with it. MK Ultra was an actual project.
Yes.
And it's declassified. Everything's out there. But SSRIs mimic a lot of that. And then these kids are living in states where marijuana is legal.
Yep.
It's freely gotten. These chemicals, the cannabinoids and the damn SSRIs, there's been no research on how they interact. And then add in the opioid crisis. And so here's what we have. We have derangement coming out of it. And what was the MK Ultra project all proving? You can turn somebody into something, and all it takes is have them altered state of mind, drugged, and getting input. And from both the extreme right and the extreme left, that input is processed differently from a person who has those issues than a person that doesn't. And I guess that was the greater point of the conversation when we were having it, is that, you know, this is a conspiracy. Yeah. And it really is. I mean, so I guess we're running in, since it's your first show and I just wanted to introduce you.
Yeah, definitely.
Why don't you sign stuff out and you finish the whole conversation on this, and then we'll upload this and everybody can hear it. And because you got a lot to say and I want you to say it, but we're short on time just because I want this to go out, and usually the shorter times get more views. Yeah. And my longer shows get less.
The only thing I had left to say, my friend, and I wanted to make sure people heard this, was I brought up the mental health thing, which isn't really attached to what you said, but I want to make a point that we need to start paying attention, though, to actual mental health issues in this country. And just be aware that these things do exist, and that you should help people that you think may have a problem.
I agree. You're not getting dispute from here. Look, the worst thing I ever saw was in the 70s when Carter released all the mental patients from a ward. Yep. Wards of the state. They had state mental institutes for severely mentally handicapped. Yeah. But that was also being abused. See, this is proof coming into effect. Yep. You know, family members intern somebody in a mental program, whatever. Yep. But the whole point of it, I guess the greater point, I should say, is that it's just always going to be rife with abuse, because these laws it shouldn't even be a matter of law, except for get the person their help. Yep. Have somebody say, at this time he's not stable, this, that, and the other. And I'm using he. It could be a she. I only use two sexes. Everybody knows that. Yes. Yeah. I don't go into the whole 700,000 million.
No. I posted something about that today.
Yeah. It's just not my thing. But
no.
The more important part is, I mean, if somebody's whatever they are, whatever, but I'll still, what were you born as, man, or girl? Yeah. But my point is, I guess, is how do I put this? I want to say that yes, I'm in full agreement that yes, the law is to intern them if they're criminally insane or psychotic. Yeah. Then I'm in full agreement on that. Taking away their rifles, whatever. If somebody's temporarily going through something, see, this is going to hit the vets. And I told people,
that's really more of what I'm talking about.
Yes,
I'm actually more talking about the PTSD issues, and the fact that these guys aren't, like you say, they're not, psychopaths or criminally insane. These are men and women who have gone through a horrific incident that is causing their pain and suffering.
Yep, a serious trauma. And, I'm riddled with PTSD, but I'm just able to hang on because I'm a normal person. I talk to my brothers. See, that's the whole thing. World War II, World War I, you had like what they called combat fatigue, or, they had different terminology.
I've heard the George Carlin joke where he talks about how we've softened the language now.
Well, but the point of that was brothers talk to each other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's always been there for me. And if any of those brothers thought I was a problem, trust me, they would call somebody.
Yeah,
And
of course.
and the same with my sisters. And I may have a night where I just drunk type, and people are like, "You were drinking last night." Yep, had a good time. And but everybody does that. And but see, that's the whole point, man. This red flag law is dodgy at best.
Yep.
And I'm sad that Dan Crenshaw, I talked about him the other day. It's the only
that was disappointing.
The only problem I have with him is the red flag thing, but he explained it a little better on Rogan. But I still see ways that there could be fuckery, just like you said, a sister saying that a brother is whatever.
Yep.
I could see that happening still. So I guess the point is, no law is perfect. Every case should still be judged with discretion. But see, that's the thing most people out there don't know. Under my time as a cop, militarily and federally, I have watched them take away police discretion. Yep. And what a policeman would say, oh, they had an argument. Well, if there's an argument between me and my wife and the police gets called, now they have to take somebody to jail because somebody reported an argument. It's out of their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't even have to hit them. You just argue with them.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I get it, man. And we are going to do a couple epic shows we've already talked about. Now, did you want me to post a picture of your face there, G-Money, or I won't? If you don't
that's
want
absolutely.
to.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. You can do that.
Cool. This is G-Money, folks. He's a good dude. I really enjoy talking with him. And you guys are really going to like more of the shows we do. He's just a really stellar dude. And with that being said...
I appreciate that, my friend.
Okay, cool. With that being said, I want to thank you all for stopping by Kaiser's Castle. I'm going to slowly raise the drawbridge. And you guys can finish your coffee, tea, soda, or adult libation as you exit Kaiser's Castle. Thank you guys for stopping by, sitting on my big orange couch. With that being said, shove out.